I love that the Chiron family is so passionate about Gigondas that it looks like that's the brand, but it actually turns out that this wine is from Le Grand Comtadine, which you can see in tiny little letters at the bottom of the bottle, from Gigondas, from the Chiron family. Now, they also make the Crozes Hermitage that we have in this pack. They are a very famous winemaking family in the southern and northern Rhone. And I said in the other video that I would tell the story. It's very interesting. The story is that Denis Chiron, who was the father and founder of this winery, of this operation, was originally from the Côte de Nuit in Bourgogne, in Burgundy. And in the 1960s, he moved down to the Southern Rhone to become a négociant, which means that you buy grapes or wines from various farmers and then you blend them together and market them and sell them. So Denis had a great relationship with one of the vignerons, and his vigneron, the supplier, decided to retire and said, look, I'm going to give you first dibs on an estate called Domaine du Grand Montmiral. And he wound up buying it. And that is the basis of this wine. Now, Denis' son, Yves, now runs the winery with his winemaking daughter, Elisa, and her husband, and they all take care of it, and they're stewards of this property. I met them when I was in Rhone last year. They are wonderful people making amazing wines, as we will soon discover. Serge told me when I went to the property that this place was unbelievable. I could barely imagine it, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, he's very passionate. I didn't know what to expect. I drive up down this long road and I see a winery that is nestled in the foothills of the Dante de Montmiral, which are these limestone peaks that rise up. They're like fangs, limestone fangs that are basically bald rock face that shoot up out of these rolling foothills in which the Gigondas appellation lies and in which this winery exists. It is unbelievable. So Yves and Elisa manage this vineyard, protecting their 50-year-old Grenache vines. They also do Syrah and Mourvedre here. Those vines are about 25 years old, and they make such awesome wine. So this wine that we have here is 60% Grenache, 30% Syrah, 10% Mourvedre. They're aged in cement tank. All of the wines from this line are aged in cement tanks so that there isn't oakiness. You can really get the fruit and the terroir. It's really, really an exceptional expression of Gigondas and of this vineyard. Let's take a look at it. It's actually pretty dark for a wine of this appellation. Grenache tends to lighten in color, especially after a few years, but it's that 30% Syrah and the 10% Mourvedre that is really giving it that dark color more than the Grenache. Give it a swirl around the glass and a sniff. Violets and rose and herbs and kind of this like, dried rockiness, orange peel note all on the nose. Take a sip. Balanced tannin, lower acidity. The alcohol is not burning me. It's not over the top. Sometimes you get that with Gigondas. That is not here. There's this smoky raspberry note on the finish. It lingers. The finish is so long. It shows the terroir. It's not an oak bomb. It's not a fruit bomb. It's this very even and spectacular wine. This is a great one actually with things from the grill. You can have it with meat. You can have it with grilled vegetables. You can have it with grilled eggplant or portobello mushrooms if you're vegetarian. This is something with heavier, heartier food, and it is so delicious as we move into the fall months. This is really the kind of wine that you want, but it is not too heavy. It's not going to weigh you down, and that is the mark of a really excellent and skilled winemaker, which is exactly the type of people that Serge works with. And I just love this family. They couldn't be nicer, and they certainly have the skills necessary to make fantastic wines that are more balanced than a lot of others in this appellation. It's a fantastic example.